Hey everybody, welcome to the Defining Life podcast. I'm Nick Boris. I'm the creator of Define My Day, um, and I am here uh, to always help you guys lead the life that you want, that leads you to this fulfilled place where you enjoy every day that you live. That's my goal, is to help you do that. But today, I find myself in an odd position. We woke up to an odd state of affairs and a scary state of affairs in the U.S. and around the world. Um, last night I went to bed and the NBA canceled the rest of their season or suspended it. Now we hear that the NHL just did the same. New York is banning anybody getting together, in a crowd larger than 500 people. People are not allowed to come into the U.S. from Europe now, and the government is thinking about shutting down domestic travel to certain places. Also, this stuff is getting real. This stuff is getting real, and these are things that this generation has never experienced. You know, you talk. I mean, it's been 102 years since the Spanish flu, which was like the last major pandemic, right? And it's been since World War II when we felt like we were in any kind of crisis that feels like this big. But on the other hand, this is so nebulous, and it's actually not even really for a lot of people here yet because there's no clear and present danger. In fact, like somebody still emailed me a couple of hours ago, this is no worse than the flu. The flu actually killed more people this year or last year, whatever they said. And that is completely false. I can't even entertain that argument anymore because like Dr. Fauci, like the number one guy in the US on the coronavirus, like this, all the whole topic, says that this is 10 times more deadly than the flu. And just because it hasn't infected as many people doesn't mean that it's not more of a danger. It is spreading, it's spreading fast, and there are things that we need to do to take care of ourselves and the people around us. So that's what we're going to talk about today. This is big, right? This is big. Hey guys, Anna, hi, how are you? I'm glad you found us, Anna. Amy, watching from Mesa, Arizona. May level heads prevail. I agree. Right? Happy Thursday, Belinda. Hopefully, we have many happy days ahead of us. And so, my intent with this session is not to make anybody go off the deep end. I still think that there's a place to be centered in this entire conversation without going crazy and hoarding all of the masks and toilet paper you can find. I don't think we need to go that far. I also don't think that we can be dismissive and just say, well, it's only the flu. Like you're going to get sick. If you're going to get sick, whatever happens, happens. Blah blah blah. It's not that simple, and it's not that easy. And I think you have to follow the lead of what people are saying, what major organizations like sports leagues are saying, what the governor of New York is saying right now, what the governor of Washington is saying, and you even see the change in tone from President Trump, right? So, he was saying everything's going to be fine, everything's going to be fine for weeks, and now his tone has changed too. So I think we take the lead on that. Also, we're hearing stories out of Italy that it is a catastrophe over there, and the death rate is higher over there because people are not getting the treatment they need. And that's one of the big things we need to avoid right now. We need to avoid everyone getting sick at once. There's a big chance everybody might catch this, right? There's a big chance, like Angela Merkel said, 70% of Germans are going to get this. The goal would be to flatten the curve, right? Not everybody get it at once, because if everybody gets it at once, everybody's crashing into the healthcare system and it overwhelms. We don't have enough drugs. We don't have enough test kits. We don't have enough beds. We don't have enough ventilators. People can't get treatment. So, and then also, then the healthcare workers start getting sick too, right? So then we have less staff. So if we can protect ourselves, slow down the communication of this, and gradually get it across the population, then people can be appropriately addressed when they get sick, which keeps the mortality rate at an optimal level, whatever that might be. It sounds kind of crazy, but you want to keep it as low as possible, if you want to say it another way. So we're not trying to make it bigger than it is. It is big, and we just need to protect ourselves in the appropriate manner, and that means not doing some things that we might normally want to do. So I'm going to go through this kind of like this list of things that, from different articles I've read and different things I've seen on TV, some things that I pull out and find are important, and what we are doing here at Define Life and in my own family. Hey, Angel, good to see you. Hope everything was able to get the supplies hope everyone was able to get the supplies they need. Stores are crazy today. Yeah, I know. I ordered some stuff online that I'm actually picking up at the store tomorrow. And my wife went out first thing this morning and got in and out before it got too crazy. So we also stocked up a couple of weeks of dry goods and things that don't go bad in the garage last week, just in case. It was just in case. And basically the way I look at that is I can't lose. It doesn't go bad, and I'm going to use it anyway. So if it takes up a little bit of space in my garage, I'm okay with that. So. But I think one of the big takeaways from all of this is we got to keep this non-political, right? However you feel the administration is handling it, however, like whatever arguments or whether you feel that it's fear mongering or whether you fear that it's the end of the world, we got to try to keep our eye on the prize here, and that the overall goal is to keep as many people healthy as possible. In doing that, we need to stop the spread as much as we can. So. Number one that people talk about, you hear it every time they start a newscast, an article. What can you do? It's be clean, like have good habits, wash your hands, use hand sanitizer, and don't touch your face, right? Just like there's like that basic like hand washing and just being sanitary, and other things like not shaking anybody's hand, wave, whatever. They're even saying the elbow bump that they first talked about brings you too close to somebody. So just wave. Like we're in a time right now. Let's just take a break. You might feel silly. Other people might kind of shame you for being a little bit too careful. So what? So what? Because in 2 or 3 weeks, you're going to feel fine with being safe, right? And if something goes wrong, those people that made you feel ashamed, where are they going to be then? And where are you going to be, right? There's no, like, that's a topic that's pervasive in being who you are, right? Like there's as humans, we like our priorities get screwed up sometimes. We're more worried about feeling okay with other people than actually taking care of ourselves in the proper way. And that's pervasive, whether it's this instance or other things. One thing that has just come up, it was in a time.com article yesterday, and it just came up today in a news story, and so I followed up to find this article, is that a team in Princeton, I believe it was, had a mister where they sprayed the virus into a closed room and measured how long it stayed on surfaces. It stayed in the air for 3 hours. So that means if you're in a restaurant and somebody coughed in that restaurant 3 hours previous, it could still be circulating in the air in that restaurant, right? Now, this study still has to be proven, has to be recreated, but that's the initial assessment from this team that did this. That's crazy. Imagine you're not even sitting next to somebody on a plane that's sick. Somebody sat in your seat 3 hours ago, and that air is still circulating. And so that's why people are taking this so seriously. That's why Italy is shut down. Italy's not shut down so Biden gets elected. Italy is shut down because there's something serious to worry about. So, like what you saw about China, why China's numbers are declining. Like they had everybody locked in their homes with speakers in the street saying stay in your homes. And they had guys walking around with these fogger machines spraying down every surface they possibly could. Will that work here? I don't know, because I don't know how Americans respond to that kind of clampdown. I don't know. South Korea had and South Korea went crazy with their testing and cracked down on it really hard. We have this I need to be free mentality, and we are unwilling to give it up even when it's healthy for us, right? And believe me, I'm all about personal freedoms, but sometimes we just need to think about the long game instead of what we want right now. Similar theme to what we always talk about with Define My Day, right? Let's look long term, short term sacrifices for long term gain, right? As far as other surfaces, they measured different surfaces in this thing, right? In this lab, right? It can stay on plastic and stainless steel for up to 3 days. 3 days. Plastic and stainless steel for 3 days. That's a long time. If this is true, that's a long time because previously they've been saying it was a couple of hours. Now imagine all of the equipment in the gym, all the crevices that people are touching that maybe don't always get cleaned off. Every surface in a restaurant, every surface in your house. Who knows? I mean, who knows, right? Who knows how long it stays on cotton and things like that. So, you touch somebody, you brush up against something, it's on your shirt, you come into the house, like, who knows? Who knows? I'm not saying this to make you absolutely paranoid. All I'm saying is minimize the risk. Clean your surfaces, clean your hands, don't touch anything you need to. And, this going on to my number 2 point here, social distancing. Don't do you don't need to. And the Italians did this, right? They kept on kissing each other on the cheek and hugging each other and all this other stuff. And they're saying, just stop, stop, give yourself some room from somebody else. And for a couple of weeks here, let's just stay a little bit further apart. Number three, I'm put up 3 fingers there. Number 3 is shut it down, right? All non-essential activities, anything that you don't need to do, just stop. Stop for a couple of weeks, right? And that basically we decided last night we're done. I'm not and Tuesday I kind of knew this. I was still on the fence, right? I still played this game where I was like, well, it's really, is it really a risk? So Tuesday I went out for a beer while my kid was at school, right? And I had a drink and talked and whatever. And as I was leaving, I said, all right, I'll see you. And I felt like, what? How soon am I going to see you again? Because I had this feeling in the back of my mind. But we woke up this morning and, watching the news, watching the stories, we're just gonna hold back, right? We have things to do in the house. We're a happy family. We can watch some movies. We can play video games together. We can play board games. The boys are going to read. But we don't need to go out for a drink. We don't need to go out to a restaurant. We don't need to go out to any sporting events. We don't need to go to the home and garden show. I'm not going to miss any of that. And the cost is too, I can sacrifice doing any of those little momentary things if it keeps myself and my family safe. And then, even going further, if you have elderly relatives or really even somebody you don't know, if we can stop it, even with my kids, they're saying kids don't get it, but they can carry it, right? So I want to minimize their chance of even carrying it because I don't want them to give it to somebody else. Because, it's that chain of events is I bear some small responsibility in that, right? And I want to minimize to the best of my ability any chance that it goes through my household. So we're doing what we need to do to minimize our exposure, and we're going to kind of let what happens happen. So in that regard, our school district hasn't decided to cancel classes. We are, my kids are supposed to be in class today. We held them back. We just, the way we're looking at it, there's a weekend coming up. If they miss 2 days and things keep going at the rate they're going, they're probably going to call off school by next week. And then, we had those 2 days where they were still fine or those 2 extra days where they were away. My wife contacted both of my boys' teachers. And I was on the fence as to whether I wanted her to tell them the reason. But she did. She said, hey, I just want to let you know they're healthy. I'm just not comfortable sending them to school today. Please let me know if they have any homework. Both teachers, and I think one of them, in all caps, both teachers responded this way, one in all caps. Thank you. Literally, the teachers don't want the students there, right? The teachers don't want to be there. This is that serious, and everybody sees the point of view, but we get stuck between, bureaucracy and, are we overreacting and all this other stuff? I think we're past that. I think at the moment we just need to kind of stop and let, because of the delay in how long symptoms come about, like give it time and let's let it like run its course and figure out where we are in a week or two. And we've got to get these test kits up and running, guys. I mean, like, geez, let's get these test kits going. I don't understand. Like, that's the big thing. How South Korea really got through this is they did like 1 million tests. We've barely done like 10,000. I have no idea what's going on there. Where are we dropping the ball? I have no idea how that's happening. But from my perspective, if we're going to be responsible, we need to shut down, absolutely shut down, where what's going on right now. Like we just need to like just take a breath, step back, enjoy your time at home. I haven't taken a vacation in a while. I'm gonna stay at home vacation mode right now. I'm gonna do what work I can, and we're gonna hang out and enjoy each other's company. All right, so that brings me to the supply, right? Like, what do we do about supplies? So what I did a couple of weeks ago, we went out and bought all of the stuff we normally buy. I just did like a triple buy. I bought 3 times what we normally need. So we have, enough for about 3 to 4 weeks of cleaning supplies, of toilet paper. Like some people took a whole year's worth, apparently. Paper towels. From the food perspective, we did a lot of frozen vegetables, a lot of Pop-Tarts for the kids, pasta, macaroni and cheese. We bought a 20-pound bag of rice. All the stuff that we normally buy. Although even the Pop-Tarts we don't normally buy, but even then, like enough stuff to get us through however long we need to get through. And that's not that because I'm afraid of like a zombie apocalypse. I want to minimize the amount of times I need to go out into the supermarket because that's the one place that's going to get everybody. And I personally would try to minimize how many times I need to go there. So if all my perishables are already purchased, the only thing I need to run in and get are fresh fruits, vegetables, maybe meat and seafood, something like that. I get in, I get out, minimize my potential for exposure, sanitize on the way out the door, and get back home, and we're okay. But I don't want to. The other thing don't want to do is risk it running out on me. So, people like right now with the toilet paper. Geez, man, what's going on with toilet paper? I have enough. I have like 2 36 packs, which is enough to last us probably a month. And if I can get some later on, great. But I just don't want to be stuck without it at all, right? So I don't want to go out and realize that everybody made a run on it, and now I can't get it. So that was kind of my thing. You can also order in. That's what we're doing for things that I may have forgotten, or like my boys already finished the books that we had purchased them a couple of weeks ago, so we needed to buy more books. So Amazon is delivering my books and any dry goods, protein shakes, protein bars, anything we need that Amazon can sell. We're ordering it in from Amazon, and that's how we're going to get all of that type of product. Now the next one is in regard to finances, and this is touchy because I know a lot of people go paycheck to paycheck. So other people have a little bit of a nest egg. Hopefully you do. But for me, it's a priority to stretch my finances. I'm making minimum payments on cards at the moment. We are terminating any reoccurring payments that we don't need. Like some there's things out there that maybe you don't take advantage of all the time, and we just I can't even think of one off the top of my head right now that we get. But like, oh, I know, like we get a shake in the mail. It's $100 a month every month. So we terminated that, so I won't be getting that for a while. And if I want to restart it, I can restart it. But if there's things that that you're not using, every little dollar counts in that regard. And I think the problem is like the income not being guaranteed. I know the government's been talking about stimulus packages. They've been talking about tax cuts. They've been talking about different things. But as this slowdown occurs, companies are going to really feel it. And it's hard to pay people when you're not making money in. Like, so everybody stops spending. The companies aren't bringing money in. It's hard to pay people to continue working or producing a product, especially if people don't want to be at work, right? So everything's grinding to a halt right now. You see it in the stock market. And so, somebody somewhere is going to have to stop paying. And so right now, I wouldn't recommend you don't pay your bills, right? I mean, you have to. I have bills coming up that I'm going, oh my goodness, I don't want to have to pay that. I'd rather keep the cash, but I'm responsible for paying it, right? So I'm going to pay it, but I'm not going to make a large payment. I'm going to make what payment is required, and go from there. So you just got to kind of feel it out and see where you are. Now, if you're somebody that has to go to work and you have to earn your money, right, and to live, I respect that, and I think you just then have to follow the good habits. Brushing teeth. You didn't want to brush your teeth anyway, but you want to wash your hands, use hand sanitizer. Not touch things you don't have to. Not touch your face. Realize that any surface you're touching, if somebody else touched it and the virus is there, you don't want to pick it up. So, you know, I get it, but try to stretch those finances, minimize expenses, and put off any non-essential payments. So that's where I'm at with financing. Um, this one is a big one in regard to how I'm handling my define my day. It's easy to fall into a news spiral, right? Where you're just absorbing every bit of news, whether it's TV, Facebook, internet articles, whatever it might be, even some of the fake stuff that people are putting out there. Um, you know, we don't need to know every little detail. And I think that if you can like segment the time that you spend watching this, it's good for your mental state. So if you feel compelled to get up and look at it first thing in the morning, commit to yourself that you're going to only do it for 30 minutes and then you're going to get to work. So a lot of the things that are happening, we talk about it all the time with Define My Day with the news. Like we absorb too much news. There's things we can't control and we let it override us rather than take care of the things we can control. This is one of those situations too. I know your eyes are going to be glued to a lot of these things, right? But, you know, like limit it, segment your day out and say, look, from 9 until 9:30, I'll give myself this time to watch the news, and then I have to get to work. I have to do what I need to do to take care of myself. If I'm working remotely, I need to get to work. I need to take care of my kids. I need to take care of my parents. I need to clean my house. Whatever you need, whatever you need to stay healthy, maybe exercise, whatever it might be. But don't let the news overtake your mind. So you want to educate yourself, but don't inundate yourself with all the news that's going on about this subject. And then the last one is just sort of like summing up this whole thing is take care of yourself, right? You want this entire the entire sense of what you're doing day in and day out while this is going on is to take care of yourself. So if you realize that you're having like this anxiety attack over what you're seeing on the news, then you need to back away from it and refocus your attention on something that you can control for yourself. Um, I would also be confident in how you feel about this. If you are literally scared, then do what you need to do to sort of reassure yourself and put yourself in a good position that you don't feel that way. And if you're not comfortable doing certain things, don't do them. Don't take that trip that you wanted to take. Don't, if your friends say, "Hey, let's go out," and say, "You know what, I'm just not comfortable." Like they can think, "Oh, well, you're being a baby or whatever." But if you you have that's you, right? You're gonna be in 2 weeks if something were to happen. You're gonna feel guilty about that, and you might really regret doing it. So if you're scared about it, just that's okay. Ride with it. You're good. If you're not scared and you want to go out, fine, as long as you're aware of the consequences. Don't worry about judgment. So that's a big thing. Like judgment's a big thing with this, and don't let anybody intimidate you into a feeling a different way. I think if you look at the facts, and you deduce from the facts what's right and what's wrong. There's different opinions and different ideas about what you should or should not be doing. And we bear the responsibility of what happens whenever we act that way. I err on the side of caution. The phrase I use is I'd rather be cautious and wrong than dismissive and wrong. So I err on the side of caution. There's a lot of people that look at me and go, "Man, you're taking it too far." I know, but there's people taking it further. And personally, I'm okay with it. Like I am, if somebody thinks that, man, like You keeping your kids home for 2 days from school is not necessary. That's okay. Keeping my kids safe is a priority for me, right? We talk about values and priorities and purpose, right? That's a priority for me. And if keeping them home for 2 days is, too much for somebody, that's okay. It's not too much for me. So that's how I feel about it. But you do what's best for you. You always assess your actions in alignment with your values and purpose, right? So if you have to connect. It goes back to connecting your actions with where you want to be in life. If your goal is to live a long and healthy life, well, this is maybe one of those moments where living a long and healthy life uh, is not conducive, or going out and doing certain things is not conducive to meet that result, right? And I think that this is a temporary situation that we get through. It's going to be financially hard. It's going to be mentally hard. It's going to be, it's going to be a struggle in that we aren't used to not being able to go outside and do whatever we want to do and not worry about just a simple cold, right? I mean, who even worries about it? If you get a cold, you get a cold. This is different. And so I think that, the idea, that I still want to do this, so I'm going to go ahead and do it, but, my goals in life are over here. We need to realize that, like, these actions, even though they make us happy and they make us comfortable and they make us feel good, I can stop doing those. It's okay to do those stop doing those short term because they don't align at the moment with where I want to go. Normally they're fine, but right now situations changed. I need to be going more in this direction. And then when the situation changes again, I can get back to doing what I want to do. Right. So take care of yourselves. Take care. I think this has gone beyond. I'll say it again. This has gone beyond it being blown out of proportion. I don't think it has been anymore. There's still a range of how we should respond to it and how people feel we should respond to it. But I'm on the side of things where I see Dr. Fauci saying, like, this is real and this is going to get bad. I see major leagues canceling their seasons, and I see, what, that's bad. I see studies that say this stays on surfaces for 3 days. This stays in the air for 3 hours. That's bad, right? I mean, that's just like I can walk through somebody else's cough and not even realize that they coughed 3 hours ago. It's crazy, crazy. I see the change in tone from our federal government. I see, what's coming out of Italy. I see, people saying, this is a text I got from an ER doctor. I know Tim Ferriss just posted an ER doctor in New York, some of the what he's seeing in New York. And I don't think Tim Ferriss is a liar. I don't think he's a fearmonger. I think he posted something that that is true. I think it's scary for the healthcare personnel, and I think we need to be taking that seriously. Let me see what you guys are saying over here. Hi, Lori. How are you? Uh, we have another two Loris right next to each other coming in from New Jersey. Angel, it would be great if the IRS would let us pay a little late without penalty. I actually really liked that idea as somebody that has to pay the IRS. I like that idea, and I think it's right. I mean, you don't want to drain people of, like, people need reserves right now. People need reserves. So the payroll tax is a great idea. The paying a little late on the IRS bill is a great idea. Even if somehow, and I don't even know if this really would happen, if the credit card companies said to people, like, look, take a month, like, we'll give you like 1 month grace, 1 month of bills. If a person, especially a person living paycheck to paycheck, got 1 month grace, if somebody has I don't know what somebody's monthly budget on normally would be, but if it's $3,000 or $5,000 a month, that's a gigantic amount of money for a lot of people. And if you can go 1 month without having to pay those bills, that's huge, huge. So, I think that there is things there. I don't know what the ramifications of something like that would be, but it's probably better than people defaulting on loans and burying themselves deeper into holes by bouncing checks or paying things late and getting, putting into a default rate on their credit card, things like that. Like, we don't want to punish people for something that is really bad. And people say, well, they should have a nest egg. They should. I get it. I get that argument, but in reality, that's not how most people operate. Most people operate day to day, paycheck to paycheck. And look, I don't like that, and I think that's part of our process, and that's probably something we're going to talk about on the outside of this scenario. Um, with Define My Day, like one of our priorities should probably be security, personal security. So, that's one of the topics we'll have after this is over. But when we are looking forward to our ideal lives, security is probably one of those things. Are we doing now when a crisis comes up? Are we prepared for it? So did we make the best use of our time so that we were prepared when a major setback like this happens? And I think the answer for many people across this country and around the world is no. We were not prepared because we didn't take advantage of the time we had, the good times we had when the market was soaring, when interest rates were low, when jobs were plentiful. We didn't take advantage of it. We were reaping the reward and not doing what we could do to make sure that we were flattening things out when things went bad again, like we knew it would. Like nobody anticipated it would go back like this, but I think we knew that times were going to get tough eventually, right? Amy says Taiwan has also done an amazing job. You're right. I did just read that. And began precautions in December when China first announced a severe pneumonia in Wuhan. Nick, I may appreciate reading this article. Nick, you may appreciate reading this article. I will check it out. I actually may have read that one. It's called "What Taiwan Can Teach the World Fighting Coronavirus." If I remember correctly, I think Vietnam did really well with it also. I mean, there's just it's a matter like, and what the argument with it and how China, while they were in denial in the first place, and we criticized the denial, once once the people at the top understood how severe it was and clamped down, that clamping down on a society that's used to being under like a draconian rule is, I think, what they were calling it. They give up their rights so easily. So they say, okay, we're told to stay at home. We're just going to stay at home. That may not be reality in how they responded, but it was more, they respond more like that than we do, right? Because how many times do you see, like, people in Pittsburgh are angry that the St. Patty's Day parade is canceled? Like, it's the worst thing in the world that we can't go to a parade on Saturday. Come on, guys. I mean, like, if you're gonna go, I mean, it doesn't matter that much, right? It doesn't matter that much. And the problem is, again, I'll say it like I said it this morning in our group. If somebody goes to that parade and they get infected and they come back home and then they pass it around their family, their friends, their coworkers, and then it goes to somebody's elderly parent, like, that's how things like this happen. And it happens on such a delay that you can't even quarantine yourself within time. Like, it happens in a week or two, not just like a day or two. And we're seeing these, there's big people that are being infected. Tom Hanks is infected now with his wife. Justin Trudeau, the leader of Canada, they're saying now his wife is being quarantined because she came in contact with somebody and she got back from London or Europe and has a fever and some other symptoms. So now they are both quarantining themselves. There's a guy that was it like the press secretary or something from Brazil that Donald Trump was taking photos with that now has it. There's people in high places getting this, and it can spread so easily. We need to be vigilant, and that's it. We need to be vigilant. So, I if anybody else has any comments on this, I'm certainly happy to talk about it with you. But I think that as it relates to the whole Define My Day process, we're going to have to adjust what our priorities are, right? I mean, we might have had goals for the next 4 weeks. We might have had milestones that we wanted to attack, but we need to adjust. We need to start writing down, that I'm going to be healthy, and the actions I'm going to take through the day are to be healthy. I'm going to stay centered. I'm going to stay educated, or I am going to work hard from home. I mean, there are so many different things you can do. And I can tell you, for me, my priorities today were to talk to you guys about it, We're trying to figure out ways to keep Define My Day more affordable for people that want to continue using the process through the next couple of weeks. Because I know there's a money crunch. So how do we help our users get what they want or get what they need through this time? The other priority for me is my family. My wife and two boys. How do I keep them healthy? And I'm trying to anticipate now. I'm writing down the things that we need to do. Our truck has been in the shop for a week. I want to get that back because if something happens, the dealership, their people start calling in sick, they can't get parts, that whatever might be going on there, I don't want to be without a vehicle for 2 or 3 weeks if it just is half taken apart and can't get fixed, right? So I'm going to call them up today. It's like on my list. It's a priority. Call them up today and get that back before anything gets crazy, right? I don't know, just worry about getting it fixed in a month. The one thing that's not going to be a priority is a haircut. I'm not going to go get my haircut for a while. So you're going to see me here shaggy until we get the all clear that things, because look, somebody cutting hair is in front of people and really close to people all day long. And I'm not going to be in that scenario, right? So, there's just different changes we make so we can live around it. And it's not a big deal. If I'm a little bit shaggy, you guys are going to look at me and say, man, that guy needs a haircut. But aside from that, who cares, right? If it keeps me from getting this any earlier, then great. If I do get it either way, like if it happens that I somehow get this after all the precautions I took, I did my best, right? I did my best. I failed at my goal of not getting it, but I did my best, and I'll deal with that when it happens. Very similar to how we handle any goals with Define My Day, right? I did my best. I persevered. I did my best. It didn't happen the way I wanted it to, and I'm going to come back and do it again. Try again. So do the things you need to do that are healthy for yourself. All right. I'm going to head out. I'm going to get on with my business. I hope you guys are doing well. I hope this made sense to you. If you have questions, leave comments below the video, and I will come back and answer them for you. I'm sure this is going to be a topic in the user group in the morning sessions we do. I'm also going to try to talk about other things. If you guys have other questions, if you have questions not related to the coronavirus, I'm happy to talk about it. I just know this is such a big topic right now. I wanted to kind of get this out there and kind of relate it to how we deal with the things in our business and our family, and also in relation to Define My Day. Overall, our goal is to help you lead a healthy, fulfilled life. And part of that is getting through a crisis like this. And it is a crisis. It is a crisis. It might not be coming to a head yet, but it will eventually. And I hope you take precautions that you need to prepare yourself for it. So take care. Keep moving forward. Stay healthy. And I will see you tomorrow morning in the user group.